So my wife and I, we were recently looking for a new coffee pot. And, usually we're doing pour overs every single cup, but recently we're like, okay, look, we need something a little bit more simple. Mornings are kind of busy. We're getting, our son ready for daycare. There's a lot of things we got to like figure out. Doing pour overs, we just don't have that luxury every single morning. So we've been looking for a coffee pot. And I'm a coffee snob, but I didn't want to spend, $600. There's some fancy things out there, but this was just not the one that I was gonna, go all out for. So we're kind of looking at like, a little bit more of a budget friendly coffee pot. And so we're taking a look at different websites, Google searching, Amazon, and there was a lot of like kind of different things to kind of compare. There's different little small features and things like that. But ultimately, when we were looking at the listings, one of the biggest drivers of our conversation was the visuals. What does this actually look like? Is it big enough? What do the photos show? And, I'm always looking at how my wife is shopping. How does she think about buying a product? And I kind of took a step back, right? I try not to be, too influential with the decision making because I kind of wanted to see what she wanted. What was she attracted to? And it was so interesting watching her scroll on Amazon, on different websites, taking a look at things. But ultimately, like the biggest driver of why she picked something was the look and feel of it. And really that came down to the photography. If the photography was great and she felt like, hey, this would match our space or like almost like an aesthetic, it almost created the value in and of itself. Less so about like what exact features does it have and does it have a better feature than this other thing. And it really made me think about how important content is to a business, but more specifically to a website and a product page. And when you think about what is the buying decision making that's happening, a lot of it is driven by the content that a consumer is seeing. And when I was looking at a lot of these different PDPs and landing pages and things like that, there was a massive opportunity to optimize the content that were on these pages. And the one that won had a great kind of set of imagery. And that's what I want to talk about today in this episode of In the Cutting Room. This is a podcast where I get to talk and tell you guys about the things that I'm seeing in our clients, but also just what I'm seeing in the world and how we are experiencing content, as well as just giving you guys tips on creative strategy and things like that. So I just think that photography tends to be underrated in terms of how important it is within a brand's ecosystem and customer journey. A lot of times when a brand, launches a new product or just launches in general, they kind of get your basic photography. Usually that's at a time when you don't have as much money or resources. So you're kind of just like throwing it all together. And I think a lot of times those images don't really change over the years, right? Like it's almost like you don't really think to go back and be like, oh yeah, let's go do another photo shoot, right? Because when you think about it from an ads perspective, you always need more ads, right? It's almost like you're at a deficit. And so you always want to like continue to fill that. But if you're looking at your product page and you're like, oh, well, we already have photos. Why would we need more photos? That's like kind of a harder sell, right? Um, but the reality is that, um, there's not a lot of brands out there that are really thinking about, well, how can I optimize my page through the imagery? And so that's really what I think is a real, like a huge opportunity. Here are kind of a few things that I think would go well, or what you need to have a great product page, Amazon listing, just for content. The first is real lifestyle photography. So I'm actually talking about like real people using the product in real situations, right? So if it's a coffee pot, let's use that as a great example. You've got the coffee pot. Don't just take a photo of the coffee pot, right? Like have like somebody like pouring in water or pouring in the coffee or just pouring coffee while they're like in the kitchen, right? Like create this story through the visuals, right? Help people imagine themselves using this product. And we really want to see that. Yes, you need your classic white product background shots. Like I think those are good. But you really want to be able to like have lifestyle imagery that gets people to visualize themselves in these situations. Next style of content that you really need is stylized product shots. And this is just to show your product in a natural environment. So if you're selling a kitchen gadget like a coffee pot, you want to show them in an actual kitchen. And I think a lot of times, when you have like the white backdrop photos or even just like a colored background or something like that, it's like, what is the product in a space, right? And sometimes it's kind of hard to see that. Specifically, like with the coffee pot, like my wife is thinking about, okay, this is something that's going to be on the countertop. What does it look like? What does it feel like? That's the stuff that they want to see. That's what she wants to see. And so if you just have like in like a studio, like seamless, like whatever, it might look cool, but like, how does that look in a space? How would you style that space around that product, like a coffee pot? Hard to tell. So having good stylized product photos is really helpful for people to visualize the product in the scene. So not just them in the scene, but then also the product within the environment that you would usually be interacting with. So let's take away like from kitchen gadgets, but let's say skincare. You could create like a bathroom setting and be able to shoot that skincare within a bathroom setting. So again, just want to help people see where this product fits into their life. The third important piece of content in a product listing would be create information rich graphics. So basically like take your like kind of like top static ads, if you will, but think about it from a static ads perspective, giving them information where, a product page, a product listing is going to be a carousel, right? You've got all of these different images and they're just clicking through. And so you want to have some graphics that you can easily scan and get information. Yes, they can go and like look at that on the product page, but maybe on the product page, there's just a lot more writing to it. There's just more detail, and that's great. But from a scanning perspective, if you are looking at the photos and you're going click, 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 you want to have a few graphics in there that have a lot of information that sell the product, but is easy enough to like scan and read quickly. And this again just allows you to give them more than just visuals, right? Now you're selling them, but it's in a format and in a space where their guard is kind of down. They're kind of looking, they're kind of browsing. They're not really like trying to think hard, right? Like when you're reading something, you're like looking and scanning, like you're really trying to gain something and like really figure it out. But when you are just watching and looking at photos, you're kind of like, okay, like let me just check this out. Oh, okay, that's got this, this, and this. All right, cool. And then like you just like move on. But having that scannable information is so important to have in that product page. So what I would do is I would try to have graphics that break down like ingredients, if you have those, highlight the benefits. So not features, but like benefits, and or like answer common questions. So those are all things you could do to have on these graphics that I think could work really well. And ultimately, you want to have somebody who's scrolling through the carousel of images and things like that, and they actually understand the value proposition that you are providing them through this product. Now, the last part of this is have a simple explainer video. There's a lot of brands that just don't have a simple explainer video, right? You spend so much time making all of these ads and doing all this stuff. And it's like, you need like a 60-second video that you can just put there and it just does all of the talking for you. And I think this is such an underrated part of the page that most people kind of miss. So if it's like a simple instruction video, like have that there and then be able to explain like the value and what it does. Like put your ads almost like on the page. You never know like how somebody's getting to your page. You don't know what content they've seen or not seen. So you want to make sure that in your listing, you have all of that information. And let's go back to my example of the coffee pot, right? So we're looking up different coffee pots and we're searching for it, we're clicking. We have yet to see, like, it's not like I was on Instagram scrolling and I saw this video of a coffee pot and then, okay, I like am going to go and buy that thing. It was, I see a picture of a coffee pot, I click it because it's Google search. Now I'm on their website. I need to be sold, right? But I'm on their product page. The product page needs to sell me. So I'm going to look through the photos. I'm going to look at the video and say, okay, how does this work? What's the deal with this, right? So you need to place video ads within the product page because you've got to sell it because you don't know if they've already seen stuff or not. And if they've already seen it, cool. Like they can either watch it again or not watch it because they already know what you do. They already know how it works. But to not have that information, to not have that video, to not have that content is a massive miss for you. Ultimately, we spend so much time trying to get traffic onto the website, but we're not thinking about how do people interact with the content that's on the website. And it's easy and it's flashy to be like, here's the latest ads, here's the hook, here's all the things that you could do or what you should do, da, da, da. But it's like, honestly, there's just basic things that you could probably do on your website, on your product listings, on your Amazon listings that would probably generate more value for effort just by having some new updated, refreshed photography, like in a simple 1 to 2 explainer videos. Like those things could go such a long way. And the great thing about this is like, what's the value of getting fresh content? Because again, you're like, oh, well, I already have product photography. I don't need to why would I need to get more photos basically? Well, truth is, you can then use all of that content for SMS. You can use that for email. You can use that for like statics for ads. You can take all of that content and rework it. You can use it for social. You can use it for so many different things. So getting a photo shoot, there's like, you could use it for graphics. You could use it for card inserts, billboards. I mean, there's like a laundry list of how like one photo can go and be used in so many different areas. So it is worth getting fresh content because most likely you don't have a lot of content and it's not only going to refresh your product page or your Amazon listings or whatever, but it's also going to give you fresh content for ads because you might be using kind of the same images for static ads. It's going to give you a lot of content for emails and other like landing pages and things like that that you can use. So it's really actually worth it. Like I know, again, as I said, it's not as exciting as like the latest ad campaign and like putting together like all this stuff, but increasing conversion rates is important. And I think that there's a lot of talk about CRO, conversion rate optimization, or CRO. And a lot of it is about layout and buttons. And you could do this, you could add these apps and do all this stuff. It's like, just have great photos, have great videos on the page. Figure out like, how are consumers looking at a product, right? They're on Instagram, they're looking at photos and videos. They're going to go to your website. They don't want to read. They want to look at photos and videos because that's what they were just doing, right? So you need to have this content here, and that's actually important. I'm not saying that other things don't matter when it comes to conversion rate optimization because those things do matter. But the thing that's going to have the highest leverage in terms of conversion will be the content. And it's worth investing in that and continuing to invest in that and continuing to test that, continuing to see what statics can work here, what videos can work here, what photos can work here. That is extremely important and something that people overlook a lot of times. So, with that being said, photography is the problem that most brands, I think, are ignoring. And I think hopefully after today's episode, it encourages you to think about photography in your business and have you gotten photos recently? And maybe you should get some new photos. Let me know if you have any other questions on this. I'm going to be putting out a lot more content as usual. You can follow me on Instagram, LinkedIn, all that fun stuff. If you have any questions about photos or how to do those, and we can even take those photos for you, let us know. So follow me, Matthew Gattozzi, on X, LinkedIn, all that fun stuff. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast, the newsletter, all those good things. And I'll catch you in the next episode of In the Cutting Room. All right. Bye-bye.